Okay, so I want to welcome everyone for joining today for our presentation, The Road to a Better Bus. My name is 𝐤𝐞𝐬𝐜, and I'm the Director of Programs at Cool the Earth, an environmental nonprofit dedicated to reducing carbon emissions and improving local air quality through transportation electrification. As a former school teacher, I am especially excited about our school bus electrification initiative. Clean electric buses means cleaner air for students on their daily commute and healthier school communities overall. Here's our agenda for the day. We'll start with introductions, talk a little bit about why we're focused on transportation electrification, dig in a little deeper on the Better Bus Project, and then we'll hear from Matthew Belasco from Pittsburgh Unified School District and their journey to electric school buses. Then we'll talk a little bit about how to go electric. We'll and then move into PG&E's EV advisory services. And then we'll end with the Q&A. We'll be going over a lot of information, but not to worry. We'll be sharing a PDF of this presentation in our follow-up email. And if any questions come up, feel free to ask them in the chat and we'll answer them throughout the presentation, as well as during the Q&A session at the end. We're so glad you're here, and to show our appreciation for your time, every school district employee who participates in today's 2 Zoom polls will receive a $50 Amazon gift card. It is our way of saying thank you. So make sure you stick around till the end to do that last poll so that you can be entered into this gift card, or it's not even being entered in, but so that you qualify. I'd like to introduce today's presenters. Matthew Belasco is the Transportation Director for Pittsburgh Unified School District, and 𝐤𝐜𝐞𝐬 from PG&E's EV Advisory Services. I'm also joined by my team members, Kathy Stanley, Sienna Bowler, and Kevin Matthews. Matthew, can you please do a quick 5-second, 10-second introduction?
Sure. Thanks, 𝐤𝐞𝐬𝐜. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Matthew Belasco. I'm the Director of Maintenance, Operations, and Transportation here at Pittsburgh Unified School District in the East Bay of California. We've done we've been fortunate enough to do some great work with some partners, and I'm happy to share that with you today, get to know you a little better, and to answer any questions you may have. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. And Dean, can you please quickly introduce yourself as well?
Yeah, happy to do so. So 𝐤𝐜𝐞𝐬, I'm an EV advisor at PG&E. I've been helping fleets electrify since 2018. Some of those fleets are some of the largest in the state. You guys have probably seen their vans coming down the street in your neighborhood, and some of them are very, very small, where the person that drives the school bus also makes lunch for the kids too. So we go from small to the very largest fleets in California. Thank you.
Great. So next slide. So this workshop is intended to be an interactive discussion. So we understand that you are busy and that you may not be able to keep your video on throughout the whole presentation, but if you could share your video during this introduction, we would appreciate it. It's always nice to get a face with a name. And in order to be eligible for the gift cards, you'll need to participate in 2 brief Zoom polls. Christopher, I see your face, so why don't you kick it off?
Sure. Thank you for doing this. I really appreciate it. My name is Chris Kemper. I'm from Stone Corral School District. We're in the northern part of Tulare County. We've always, ever since the COVID times, we wanted to electrify our buses. And this is a great opportunity. We want to make sure we do it correctly, not only with the buses, but with the infrastructure, for the electrical. So thank you for doing this.
Wonderful. Thank you. Terry Serpa, do you want to go next?
Yes, I'm Terry Serpa. I'm the Director of Transportation for Dinuba Unified School District. We're located in the Central Valley as well in Tulare County. And as far as excited about getting electrifying school buses, I'm a little bit on the fence about it, but I know that's the direction that most school districts are going to. So So I just need to get on board and get with it and get things going.
Awesome. Thank you. Anthony and Junior, if you're able to share your screen, your video, that would be great. If not, that's okay as well. All right, Anthony, would you like to go next?
Okay, hello, my name is Anthony. Sorry, I don't know what is happening with my computer. I cannot active. I have problem with the camera. That is the reason what is off. So,
okay, no problem.
My thing today is because we have 4 electric buses. They are brand Lion, and 3 of them are down today. So I would like to hear more about what other brands are in the market, or what is the best choice right now for us, because we know that there are some issues with Lion, and so we are thinking about how to go forward with this. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Junior?
And hi, good morning. This is Stacy and Junior. We're together because we couldn't quite be able to figure it out for both of us. But I'm Director of Transportation. He's Maintenance Transportation. And we as well have 5 electric buses. We're here at Pierce Joint Unified School District in Northern California, smaller district. We do have 5 electric buses, but we're kind of on the same boat as Anthony is. We have all 5 of them down at the moment. And we're working with the company to try to fix, but now they're out of warranty. So we're just kind of seeing what else is out there as well.
Great. Thank you so much. It sounds like a lot of you are already well along your way in school bus electrification, which is very exciting. Kurt, could you quickly do an introduction?
Sure. Thanks, Annika and everyone. It's Kurt Johnson with the Climate Center. We're an environmental nonprofit. We've been focusing on vehicle grid integration, and obviously school buses are a fabulous use case for that, for resilience and reliability and affordability for all Californians if the battery resources can be utilized to benefit all ratepayers in California. We're working on some policy recommendations for state leaders to accelerate the full utilization of California's electric school bus fleet for affordability and reliability and resilience. We have a sort of a school bus coalition that we started. We had actually a meeting earlier this week, included some of you, and we really have an interest in uplifting the leaders such as Matthew on the call here today from Pittsburgh, and hopefully the rest of you, that you could be examples for all school districts across California to follow. So I'm mostly here to learn if there's things I don't know yet about what PG&E is working on, and would appreciate the opportunity to collaborate with all of you so that we can have California become a global leader in fully utilizing its school bus fleet for all of the benefits that it can provide.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us today, Kurt. Next slide, please. So some people may wonder why there's such a focus on transportation electrification, and there are several reasons. So as you can see from this chart, transportation is the largest source of climate pollution in California, contributing to climate change impacts and poor air quality. When we switch to electric, we eliminate harmful exhaust for some of our most vulnerable community members, our children. School districts will need to align with California's mandate. In 2035, all new public school buses must be zero-emissions vehicles. And while there's an initial investment for electric school buses, over time, ESBs have lower fuel and maintenance costs, and an overall lower cost of ownership. And as a bonus, electric buses can actually support the grid and even our schools during power outages, offering resiliency. Next, please. So we are partnering with PG&E on the Better Bus project, and today we're highlighting PG&E's EV advisory services, which are designed to help school districts like yours electrify their school buses and fleets. EV advisory services provides no-cost, one-on-one advisory support, giving your district expert guidance from start to finish. So whether you're just beginning to explore electrification, like I know some of you are, or ready to move forward, EVAS can help you at any stage of the process. These services are available through the end of 2026, so now is a great time to get started. If you're ready to take the next step, PG&E's EV advisory services are here to guide you, so don't hesitate to reach out and get started today. Now Matthew Belasco will share his experience electrifying the Pittsburgh Unified School District's school bus fleet. Matthew, take it away.
Thanks again, Annika. So glad that you're all able to join today. And let's see. So Pittsburgh started our journey to electrification very early on. I think we started back in 2017 when we first deployed our first 2 electric school buses. I always like to share this story of, I didn't really understand all of the ins and outs of the electrification journey that we would be on. So I actually had my first 2 buses before I had any charging infrastructure. So I had these fantastic buses that I couldn't put on the road because it would take about 30 hours to get them charged up. I couldn't get them on the road consistently. So I'm really thankful that 𝐬𝐜𝐿 and PG&E have partnered to help others get along that journey with avoiding some of those potholes that that unfortunately we have stepped in along the way. So we do have our goal of 100% fleet electrification by 2035. Our board and our community have been extremely supportive in really getting behind us and investing in those goals. As I talked about, and when we got the first buses in 2017, the district actually made a allocation of resources of over $500,000. And so those of you on the call that are part of schools, that that's a pretty significant commitment, for a portion of our business that can at times be perceived as classroom direct impact. So for our board and cabinet to really get behind that was something that was extremely encouraging as we mapped out a roadmap at what we wanted the district to do, or the direction we wanted to take the district. So we currently have 7 EVs deployed. We have 5 of those on routes every day, and 2 are used for backups, and we also rotate those in and out with our other buses. The majority of the rest of our fleet is propane. So whenever we have the ability to have the range match the route, we will rotate the EV buses in there. So we have orders placed for 3 additional buses. We hope that they will be delivered by June of this year. In addition, we're working with the CEC and a partner mobility house to do some work, as Kurt indicated early on, for some V2G, V2B technology improvements. So that's utilizing the school bus and the big, large batteries in there to help support our school infrastructure. So we can go to the next slide. As I said in the beginning, there wasn't really a lot that I knew, or that my team knew, or really that the industry knew about electrification when we started. We just knew that Pittsburgh was really committed to the environment, or environmental stewardship, and I wanted to be able to further that. So we made several errors along the way, and so our hope is that the folks on the call today can take those errors and kind of write them off and make sure that they don't make some of those missteps. So I think just in the consideration of vehicles, I know there's a couple questions already about other OEMs, but I think one of the things to really consider when you're looking at your overall needs are, when you're focused on the actual bus itself, it's looking at the right size for right sizing the bus. So what are your route needs? How many of those routes are going into rural communities, maybe outside of the range of your, or within your city. Typically we're looking at anywhere between 100 and 155 miles stated safe range of most school buses today. So kind of looking at that and saying, saying, okay, on Route 1, we need a full-size Type D or a large Type C bus to go on this route, and what are the battery sizes needed in order to make that happen. So, looking at the seating capacity, and then seeing, how can those buses fulfill our needs within a safe stated range. Nothing could be more damaging to your electrification process of having an electric bus, that runs out of range. And, the parents are going to call. Again, all of us in schools know, parents will call our board, and our cabinet will get those calls and texts and phone, and messages, and, why did we risk the students by doing that? So it's really important to right size that fleet. And then as we moved on into the white fleet vehicles, our vehicles for maintenance and even for transportation, you see one of our electric passenger vans that's in the picture there. So as we started to move into the white fleet electrification, we really look for range is probably going to be a little less critical. Most of the maintenance vehicles are going from either a yard or a depot to a school site and back, and typically that's 40 to 50 miles at a max. That could be a long distance. So less critical is the range considerations. More critical is the capability. What are you expecting of those vehicles? Are they towing a mower? Do you need to move material around and need a higher payload, for example, in a box truck? And then also one of the considerations we had to do was think about the upfitting. For example, we have a locksmith van, and so we had to move to the 3/4 ton EV van as the half ton wouldn't accommodate the weight of the equipment and the lockers and the things that go into that. So, and then in terms of the passenger vans, just thinking about what is the capacity that you need. Do you need the full 15 passenger that's the max, or can you get away with a 12 passenger or even a smaller passenger capacity that might allow individuals who don't have a Class B license help offset some of your capacity needs there. So, and then the last point I'd like to make when you're making considerations is, for folks that are in could be in maybe a mountainous area, I know that's one of the big concern that's always seems to come up when we're having meetings like this or having discussions is, the higher energy use when you're moving in those uphill directions. But, I always encourage folks to think about, there's always two sides to that mountain. There's the upside and the downside, and regenerative brake. The braking can definitely do that. There's going to be some training needs that are going to have to happen with the drivers. They're going to need to understand how an EV operates and what is the most efficient and effective way to drive those vehicles. So we can move to the next slide. So here it just lays out kind of the timeline for our electrification and overall decarbonization. So back in 2010, we installed solar panels on most of our buildings throughout the district, all of our school sites, save for 2. And so we, as you can see, the district has long been interested in environmental stewardship. So I really came to a district that was forward thinking and, really allowed us as a transportation department to move those forward. So, and we can see in 16, 17, we started having some discussions. We went to a conference that was focused on green technologies and, started thinking about what does it look like to bring electrification into the Pittsburgh community. And then as you move forward, we were able to get some, as I said, I didn't really think out thoroughly the charge the charge infrastructure. So fortunately, we were able to get in on a pilot program that was funded by PG&E to install and upfit 9 level 2 chargers and a very advanced charge management system. We have a solar and wind farm on property, and so the charge management system allows our vehicles to be charged at the peak time. Sometimes everyone thinks that it always makes the most sense to charge during off-peak times, but we all know that those times can, the 4 to 9 times can be difficult. So, for example, if our renewables in July are putting out a lot of power at noon, then that's the time that our buses are going to be charged. So that was a very cool addition to our overall operation. And then we ordered the 2 additional transit style buses. And then in 2020, right at the height of the pandemic, we ordered our microbirds. And as you can see, the delay in getting those to us, we received those in 2022. And then in 2025, we placed an order for 2 additional transit style buses. And then we do have a continued plan to continue to roll out through 2035 to do full electrification. And then you can see in 2025, we also received a very good recognition for the work we're doing with our bidirectional research for that project. And then as you look forward, we look at, what are the capabilities beyond just improving and reducing our carbon footprint in the community, and how can we truly, support our schools' electrical needs, reduce overall costs. And one of the projects that we have included in that V2G, V2B grant program is we have a discharge site port at one of our school sites. So if there was ever an extended shutdown of school, we could pull one of our buses over there and keep that multi-purpose room and kitchen powered up to provide services for our most vulnerable scholars and community members. So we're really proud of the work that we've done, and we look forward to continuing that journey and with the support of our partnerships. I think as I close with my section, I just think that developing partnerships is something that's really important. It's really hard to go at it alone. So, think about some partners that you could have in your community and, just your business world, not just for the vendors, but also other groups such as your utility. Utilities have to be an integral part of your long-term planning. So think about, building out that some great partner relationships. And I'm always glad to help and share any information and try to avoid any missteps that we made. So thanks for hearing me out. And then I'll be around for questions at the end after the next section. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing your experience at Pittsburgh Unified, Matthew. It's been wonderful collaborating with you over the last 6 or 7 years, and I'm always so impressed with your forward-thinking programs. So thank you for being a part of this with us. At this point, I would like to introduce...
Yeah, I'm here. Dean 𝐞𝐿. So
thank you.
We're going to talk about a new set of services that PG&E has made available. It's been up and running for the past year. It's called EV Advisory Services. Next. So this is a free service to PG&E only customers. You have to be a PG&E electric customer. PG&E gas customers don't qualify for the program, but you wouldn't need us anyways, right? Because you're getting your electricity from someone else. So this is for medium and heavy duty fleets. It's not for public charging sites, employee parking garages and things like that. This is for medium heavy duty fleets. It's zero cost to the PG&E customer. And we're taking applications through 2026 for the advisory service. We have filed for an extension, and we're talking to our regulators. They like what we've done for the past year. And so we're getting indications it will be extended. Okay, next. So when it comes to the customers electrifying fleets, from our past experience from our EV fleet program that I was a part of since 2018, we realized that the people that are electrifying their fleet have never done this before. The person who had electrified their school or their commercial building or their factory is long gone. They've retired. And now sustainability managers, facility managers, fleet managers, even just school bus drivers are being asked to do something that they have no prior experience with. So they don't have any in-house knowledge on doing this. They find the task a little daunting, that it can be confused with what's going on for electrifying a project. And then there's just the basic utility speak, you know. There's a lot of engineers at PG&E. We say funny words like kilowatt and amps and kilowatt hours, and people are like, I'm not sure I quite understand what you're talking about here, PG&E. It's almost like going to a courtroom without a lawyer, right? So that's why we're bringing on this EV advisory service, because we're going to be your advocate at PG&E to help you along through this journey of electrification. And then the other thing that people worry about is, okay, well, what is this going to cost before, during, and even afterwards, right? So picture your sites up and running like Matt here. And Matt has a very sophisticated site because he's got some cool solar panels where even the grass grows below them. And then he's got a nice mixture of vehicles. So what is the cost for electrifying and fueling this fleet, right? You need to keep that on par or better than what you were doing before, right? Next. So when it comes to the journey of electrification, we engage our customers wherever they are in that journey. They might be just getting started. They're kicking the tires. They're trying to understand what's involved in this, right? And getting up to speed. And we're all learning together, right? So things keep evolving with the technology, the best practices. So everyone's getting better and better at this. If you've gotten to the point of saying, okay, we're all in, we want to move forward with this, but we need help making a plan. We're here to help you with that part too, to help you, setting up your site. Where do you put the vehicles? Where do you put the chargers? Is it nose in? Is it parallel parking? Where do I put this infrastructure? I'm going to need new switchgear. I'm going to need PG&E to put in a transformer. Where is the power? What is the power, right? Is there power on an existing transformer? Is it a new transformer? Is all the power there on day one, or is only some of the power there? And I need to have PG&E do a capacity upgrade. So we'll help you with that planning phase. And then once you're confident, you're ready to move forward, we'll help you with that application to PG&E, right? To our service planning department. We have a wonderful thing called Rule 29, which is a very low cost version of getting electrical infrastructure set up on your school. And then for customers that have done that journey already, they're up and running. Now they need to optimize their site, right? So we can come in afterwards and take a look to see how you are charging your vehicles. Are you on the best PG&E rate? Because we want to make this a good experience for you. Next. So eligibility for this program is very simple. We have two levels of eligibility. The basic is you need to be a PG&E Electric customer, and you need to operate at least one medium or heavy duty vehicle, and you agree to the terms and conditions. For full eligibility, you need to be one of these categories. And as you see, schools is top of the list. And in addition, you need to be in the AB 841 community. This is an underserved community. It's kind of like a higher variant of disadvantaged community, okay? Because it includes our tribal customers too. They need support in this area, okay? Next. So here are the list of the different services that we have available. So if you're just getting started, we can help you out with Fleet Electrification 101 to get you acclimated to the environment. We can help you with a fleet planning study. This is a brand new tool that we're finishing the touches on right now. So this will give you a breakdown on total cost of ownership, vehicle selection, charger selection, grants, and things like that. We're just putting the final touches on this tool. It's going to be state of the art. And another thing that we can do is a basic capacity check for you. This is a tool that we've made available to the public. It's called our GRIP tool. It's online. Think about an airplane coming in for a landing. When it comes to doing a capacity check, our GRIP tool is like 30,000 feet. And then we have other versions of our capacity check that we can do for you. And most of those are in the next category, which is making a plan. So we have a portfolio capacity check. This is a great service if you're looking at multiple sites that you're looking to electrify and you're saying, where is the easiest place for me to go? Where is the power today? We can do a high-level view looking at the feeder and the bank on the PG&E grid for your address, right? And we'll tell you if we're able to serve your needs. We do need to know how much load do you plan on putting on the PG&E grid? So we've got something to compare it to, right? A lot of people used to say, just tell me how much power is on the PG&E grid. Well, that's what our GRIP tool does. Now we're getting a little bit closer to your facility. So we need to understand, well, how much power do you actually need? Because we're going to do a trace down to your location for our ability to serve. Okay. We have VGI overview, vehicle to grid integration. You heard Matt talk about that. He's looking to V to G and V to building. Load management and rates guidance. I'm going to touch on some of that today. Resiliency. And we also have another defined version called site review and capacity analysis. If you were going through a service planning application at PG&E, we'll do a site review for you and capacity analysis. That service typically costs $3,500. But if you're enrolled in this program here, we will do that for you for free. And it's the exact same service if you were paying the $3,500. Okay. So we're going to help you for understanding where to place your switchgear and your chargers. And then we're going to check the grid down to your particular location. And we'll determine if we need to do a transformer upgrade or any other type of work on the grid. Okay. Then we've got moving forward with infrastructure and a detailed capacity analysis. That's for customers where there's already a transformer on site. Your advisor said, hey, there's enough capacity on it. Your switchgear has enough capacity on it. We're just verifying that there's capacity on the grid, looking at it from an hourly perspective in a 24-hour period, 5 years out, right? So we're getting very detailed here. But that's for customers that the infrastructure is already there on site. We just got to make sure that they've got permission to serve, to go ahead and add the additional load to that infrastructure. No new meter with detailed capacity analysis. Okay? And then setting your project on its way, we'll get you introduced to our service planning department. We'd like to do a nice warm handoff call with that. So you've got someone to talk to, right? And to give you expert guidance. And then the last service we have is on rate optimization and load management analysis. We'll take a look to see how you're actually using your chargers, right? One of the outcomes that we saw when people applied to this webinar is people are very interested in the money side of things. What is it going to cost me to refuel these buses? What type of grants are available for those customers that are looking to get started, right? So if we could, can we move on to the next slide? All right. So we're going to talk about rates, load management, and grants. One of the things that happened probably about 5-6 years ago, customers asked us, hey, PG&E, do you have an EV rate for us? Do you have a better rate than my building has today? And we did address that with our new business EV rate. So it does lower the cost of charging an electric vehicle. It will save you at least 25% compared to any other electric rate that PG&E has today. Next. So let's take a look at this business EV rate here. So this rate's a little unique. It is a monthly subscription. You tell PG&E how much power you need, right? It is a time of use rate, as Matt indicated, right? So we have an off-peak, we have a super off-peak, and we have a peak time period, time of use. Peak is from 4 to 9 p.m. Try to avoid that as much as you can if you're taking power from the PG&E grid. Matt's taking it from his microgrid, essentially, is what he's doing, right? So he's charging his bus during the microgrid. If you're taking it from the PG&E grid, you're going to pay about double what off-peak costs, right? So do you really need to charge during peak and pay twice as much versus waiting till after 9 o'clock, right? So the monthly subscription is based on your kilowatt demand charge. How much power are you taking in? How big is that pipe coming in? How much power are you taking in? And for that, you purchase subscription blocks up to 100 kilowatts in 10 kilowatt blocks. Or if you're going above 100 kilowatts, it's in 50 kilowatt blocks, okay? And then for the KW component, kilowatt per hour component, that is a time of use rate. And so that's where you've got off-peak, super off-peak, and then on-peak, okay? Next. So here's an example of a daily load profile. And what we're looking at here is a 24-hour period. And it shows the load, the demand in kilowatts. So that's the vertical, the horizontal is a 24-hour period. And what you see on here is it's a bit spiky. You don't want spiky, okay? And they're in the red. So they're charging from that 4 to 9 period of time. And so it's going to be a bit expensive charging with this profile here. Next. So when it comes to the two components that make up your PG&E bill, you've got your demand, your max KW, and your total kilowatt hours, right? So are you turning on all your chargers at the same time? If you are, that's going to raise that KW, and it's going to get very peaky also. Do you have all your chargers turned to full power? Maybe you can turn them down. I don't discourage customers putting in large chargers. One of the advantages is future-proofing your site. You could put in a large charger, but you don't have to necessarily have it turned all the way up. Think about the radio in your car or your stereo at home. You don't have it set for full volume, right? You have it set based on your needs, your listening choices, right? Same thing with the chargers. You might have a great big charger there, but you don't have to turn it up to full power unless you really need to, right? And then on your KWH, it's really about spreading your charging out, trying to avoid that peak time of use period. Either shift it before or after that period of time. Okay, next. Here's a couple of different charging behaviors so you can see how customers can charge. That one on top, you can see it's pretty flat, and then all of a sudden it gets very spiky. What you really want is nice, smooth, and flat, right, to avoid that demand charge. As soon as you hit that demand charge one time within a month, that sets the bar for the whole month, right? So try to keep it low and moderate, nice, even, you know? It's like driving a school bus. You don't accelerate and de-accelerate a lot. The kids will get tossed around, right? You want to keep it nice and even as much as you can so it's a nice, smooth ride for the kids to school and then going back home. And down below, you can see where it's a little bit of a bowl effect because they're charging the batteries that are empty, and then the batteries are filling up, and then they start to decrease. But they're trying to stay away from that peak time of use period, right? Because like I said before, you're going to pay at least double if you're charging during peak, okay? So that's some information about load balancing and on the cost of charging your buses. Next, let's talk about money. So we have a new tool that's coming online. We're doing some finishing testing for our new tool for the fleet advisory service. But this is the tool, this is our fleet savings calculator. This is something that we created for our EV fleet program that's coming to a close. This tool here is available to you today. It's at fleets.pge.com. No login required. And I can tell you there's over 20,000 users accessing this tool. And they're not just in California. I've met some of these people. They're in Iowa, they're in New York. Some of them are air districts. Some of them are vendors. I talked to some of the air districts. They tried to create a tool like this. They ran into the same issues we did. It's difficult, it's complex, but we pushed through it and we got our tool up and running. And they leverage this tool today to draw information of how to help customers electrify their fleets. But at the top, if you look at information, the second item down says grants on it. Open up this tool, click on grants, and then you're going to put in your zip code. And essentially, it's a filter tool. It's going to filter to the grants that are available in your area based on your type of fleet, right? So this is a tried and true tool. It's been up and running for many years. Tens of thousands of people are using it. It will go away as our new tool becomes available, but this is something that you can use today and take a look at grants out there.
Great information.
Thank you, Dean. It's so great to hear the ins and outs of PG&E's fleet advisory services and your valuable lessons learned that you were able to share. So really great. I'd like to thank everyone for joining our webinar today. We hope it was helpful. We'll be sending a follow-up email with useful links and the slides. Kurt, go ahead.
Dean, this is Kurt from the Climate Center. How many districts are there like what Matthew's got going on?
As far as districts, I think Matt is certainly leading the pack. We do have other school districts that are looking at the solar side, but not as sophisticated with wind and then battery storage also. We do have transit agencies that are certainly looking at the microgrid side. Quite a few transit agencies have a emergency evacuation requirement. So if a natural disaster happens, they need to make their buses available to transport people. So they're certainly looking at that side for resiliency. PG&E is also looking at resiliency. So behind me here is a picture of our Napa yard of where we've put in our chargers. These trucks that are currently parked there are not electric trucks, but we're taking a look at resiliency also for our facilities.
Thank you. I'll want to reach out just to capture all that in this sort of policy report we're putting together that's going to include case studies so we can really, highlight the leadership of the folks that are doing the right thing and want to make sure we have a all-encompassing look at what's currently going on. So appreciate it.
Okay.
Does anybody have any specific questions for Matthew and his experience at Pittsburgh Unified? I know he has to hop in about 5 minutes. So if anybody has anything specific, now is the time.
Matthew, if you don't mind, with your micro infrastructure, you must save a lot of money on electrical costs.
We offset about 65% of our total yard costs with our renewables. So with our solar and wind farm, that offsets that. And that's over the year. During the summer months, we're offsetting nearly 100% of those costs.
Wow.
As the solar production is at its peak. But, one of the things, consideration that we did make when we added the wind generators on there also is it's not always sunny in Pittsburgh, but it's usually pretty windy. So, those things are moving, almost 24/7. So even when we're in our lowest usage in the evening hours, they're still generating. So it does make a big difference. And we're currently in the process of adding battery storage for resiliency, peak shaving, and just overall storage, so that we can continue to capture and utilize the power that we're generating with our renewables across the district.
That's fantastic. And wind, that is amazing. I've never heard of a school going wind.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
When we did when we pulled the COP to fund the actual project, we did have some funds left over as the solar, the manufacturer of the solar was very interested in working with schools, and kind of getting their foot in the door. So they were extremely generous with us with their total costs and reduced the cost substantially. So with that extra money, we had always wanted to do wind, and it just allowed us to do that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And just one last question, if you don't mind. What do you foresee as a future in setting up some of your district seems to be very good at planning. What do you suggest in planning for the future, particularly with the vehicles?
I really encourage everyone to take advantage of those tools that are out there. Dean really has covered those pretty extensively. Take advantage of those tools and, take the time to plug in your data and, kind of customize that to what's going to work for your particular environment. And also the pace, the funding allocations that districts are going to be comfortable with. Sometimes you can't take that big bite all at once. It has to come in smaller increments, but that's okay. Every little bit can help. So I would say just really strongly encourage, take advantage of the resources that are out there. It's the easy button. Press that button and take advantage of every opportunity to help simplify it, and that's out there.
Great, thank you.
Yes.
And Dean, just one question for you. As far as, let's say, if we started with PG&E with your guidance, what would you say is the average timeline from the beginning planning, just getting started, to the actual project itself?
The project being totally completed, I would say it's probably 18 months. Okay. We can move faster. Quite a bit of it is dependent on the customer getting their infrastructure in, sourcing the switchgear for their project, and then permitting is involved too. But realistically, 18 months. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Was there some questions about OEMs? I know I heard something early on, something that anyone would like to ask or get some other information.
What's that?
Any information on the manufacturers? I know that I heard a couple folks saying that they were using Lion or their buses were down. So if they don't have any questions now, as Annika's mentioned, we'll send out a copy of this, and then our contacts are in there. And if you'd like to reach out to me and ask those questions, in a smaller group, I'm willing to offer everything that I've learned from the different manufacturers that we have, and also some of the ones that we've test driven or that we've had our team, come here and do some ride along demos, things like that. Always glad to help with that.
Thank you.
I do want to thank you all again for joining us today. Again, I hope this was helpful. Here are some next steps. We just dropped that Fleet Advisory Services link in the chat. So click on that link to sign up. No obligation, just to kind of hear what PG&E has to say and how they can help you wherever you are in the process. And again, we'll be sending this slideshow so you can pick up all these links as well.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Matthew. Again, we appreciate you taking your time. We know you guys are super busy, so thanks for joining us. And feel free to stay in touch. You can respond to our email if you have any other questions. And remember, if you think that Amazon gift card is not going to make it through your work email, make sure you provide us with a different email to make sure you get your $50 gift card.